Hello, my name is Michelle and welcome to my channel, Michelle's Melancholia. And welcome to the first October vlog. I've added some Halloween decorations to my shelf. I'm really not much of a decorator because living in such a small flat has really made me quite practical, so I don't keep much stuff around. Halloween is in my heart all year long anyways, but I still wanted to add some Halloween-y touches, so I hope you like the new look. And basically, I've been thinking about what kind of content I want to put out for October, and as I mentioned in my previous video, sometimes I get too stressed out and put too much pressure on myself to enjoy the October months or the October-November season. And because I'm trying not to do that and just enjoy, I decided that I will have like a couple book reviews from the books I read in September. And mostly I will focus on vlogs because that way I can just share with you what I'm reading at the moment and just talk about it without having to structure or script anything too much. And this month I will also try to watch more horror movies than usual, and I thought that would be nice to add those reviews to the vlogs as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But also, if you are not really interested in the vlog portions, I will add timestamps in the description for the segments where I actually have like reviews of books or movies. But to get things started, let's talk about TBR. So I made an autumnal TBR, which I will link somewhere around here, which I already mentioned many books that I want to read in October, but since then I have added a few because I have joined a few more book clubs, of course, and I've decided to join a couple of reading events. I will be joining Halloweekend and I will do my best to do the A to Z horror challenge. But first I'm going to quickly just go over the books that I want to read in October that I had already mentioned in my previous video. So because I already talked about them, I'm just gonna go through the list really quickly. So those books are Halloween Slaughter by Sergio Gomez, The Trick-or-Treater and Other Stories by Brianna Morgan, All Hallows Eve by Richard Lehman, The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay, Ghost Story by Peter Straub, The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, Usher's Passing by Robert McCammon, What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. So those are the ones that I had already planned to read. But then I joined another book club on Instagram called In the Void Book Club, which I will link below. And for that, I will be reading Daphne by Josh Malerman, and maybe if I have time, also Pearl, also by Josh Malerman. But Pearl, I think I may have to start it in November because I already have too much going on. Then I am also joining the Criminalist Birth Year Book Tag Book Club or Read Along, and that will be Hell House by Richard Matheson. I will also be reading The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike because I was supposed to read that in September but I didn't have time. And I've also added Benny Rose, The Cannibal King by Hailey Piper because that happens around Halloween. And it's a novella, so it's a quick read, so I thought I could sneak it in somewhere. So let's get started with Halloweekend, and for this one I would suggest that you go see the announcement videos for all of the hosts because it's there's a lot going on. There are 5 main book prompts, 5 bonus prompts, then there are photo challenges that you can put on Instagram or on the Discord or wherever, and activity challenges, so kind of like Halloween-y activities that you can do each weekend. And it is structured in a way where one weekend is from Thursday to Sunday. Honestly, I'm just going to be reading for the whole month. I'm not going to like divide it into weekends. Also, I haven't really planned a Halloweekend TBR. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is taking books from my already existing TBR and try my best to fit them into the prompts for each weekend. So, for example, I'm going to put a photo somewhere here for the 5 main prompts, and I was thinking ghost story. That would fit really well in a book with a Halloween word on the title. So a Halloween word is any kind of like spooky word. So ghost is like a Halloween word. And I'm going to use All Hallows Eve for Halloween vibes, because the prompt is Halloween vibes or a book that is set around Halloween. So that will fit perfectly there. And then for the bonus prompts, for example, I could use Benny Rose for a novella, and Usher's Passing for new author, because I have never read Robert McCammon before. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Am I doing it all wrong? Yes. Am I going to have fun and not stress about TBRs? Also yes, and that is more important. Halloweekend also has other types of prompts. So there are photo prompts that I will put somewhere around here that people can share either on Instagram or on the Discord, and activity prompts, which is Halloween related fun things to do. And actually yesterday, which was Saturday, I already joined the reading sprint, so I have ticked off that from the list. And the other reading event that I'm joining is organized by the channel Books of Blood, which I will link below with the announcement video. And that's the A to Z horror challenge. So there is like prompts for many letters in the alphabet, which I'm not going to go through right now. You can just go look at his video. But I'm gonna have the same approach. I'm just going to read books and then see what fits in there. And now let's talk about the books that I'm currently reading. So the first book is one I've been listening on audiobook, and that is a young adult horror book. It is called Harrow Lake by Kat Ellis. And this is about a 17-year-old girl called Lola, who is the daughter of a very famous horror movie director. And one day someone comes into their house and attacks the dad, so he has to go to hospital. And while he's in hospital, Lola gets sent to the town of Harrow Lake. And the story is that Harrow Lake is a place where one of his father's films was shot. And it's probably his most famous film, and also it's where he met Lola's mom, who's also the star of the film. So basically Lola goes into this town, but the people living there are very strange, and everyone seems to be extremely obsessed both with the movie and the character that her mom used to play, which is called something like Lil Bird. And I'm probably about slightly over halfway. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. It's really, really creepy. Sometimes I start to feel that there are maybe too many creepy elements, but hopefully they will all come together. And actually, I really like Lola as a character. She really sounds like a 17-year-old, you know, a little bit annoying, but not in a bad way, just in like a teenage way, where she really thinks that she's very deeply misunderstood. And one thing that's very well done is that her relationship with her father is very, very strained, because you can see that he really doesn't give her a lot of attention, but at the same time he seems weirdly possessive about her. And you can see that she really wants to get his approval, and she desperately wants him to show some kind of like fatherly love, and she's just not getting it. So I like it. I think for a really short young adult book, the character work is really well done. It's decently scary so far, so I'm really enjoying that. And the other book I started reading is The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike. Again, as I said, I'm reading this because I want to get it finished before the Netflix adaptation comes out. Although, I think I want to dedicate October to watch horror movies, and I feel like I don't want to watch a series this month. So maybe it's okay if I just take longer to finish this. But anyways, this is about a group of teenagers that live in a hospice. So basically they are terminally ill and they are living there, and eventually they are going to die there. So in order to cope with their situation, they have formed a club in which they get together and tell stories to each other. And I've only read about 70 pages, so I'm not really sure where the story is going. But again, I'm loving it so far. The characters also seem like genuine teenagers, but obviously there is this added strain of the knowledge they have that their lives are coming to an end. So you can definitely see that there is a lot of pain there, a lot of anger, and this is reflected in the stories they tell. And actually I thought this was really well made, because the stories they tell, they do sound like something a teenager would come up with. So that's really interesting to see. So far, I'm enjoying it very much. It is quite sad, even from the first few pages. And I guess it really must not be easy for them to have to deal with the fact that they are going to die young. One thing I really like is that I heard in a podcast that Christopher Pike himself said that many teenagers wrote him letters saying that this book really helped them cope with their own terminal illnesses. So I think it must be well made, and it must be very relatable for people who are in this situation as well. I will be completing 2 of the bonus prompts. I'll be using the Midnight Club for Cover You Love. 1, because it has like that vintage book metallic lettering, and it's just like this very creepy looking clock, which I guess it's kind of like symbol for time running out, which is a bit grim but fitting for the book. And I'll be using Harrow Lake for Halloween colors on the cover, because as you can see, there's some yellow, there's some orange, there's some black, and it kind of like reminded me of a candy corn, so I think that counts. So for now, we're going to take a break. I'm going to do some more reading, and next time I check in with you, I'm going to be reviewing 2 horror movies. Yeah, so I will see you later. Hello, welcome back to the vlog. So what have I been up to? Well, first of all, I did some baking, some seasonal baking. I made cinnamon apple mini donuts. So I will share some footage of that with you.
Start by peeling and chopping some apples. You will cook them with butter and sugar. Then make vegan buttermilk. Listen to your favorite podcast. And then you're going to mix flour, baking soda, baking powder, and a whole lot of cinnamon. Then you add the buttermilk and the cooked apples and a whole lot of maple syrup. Mix, and then you can fill your donut pans. Then, while the donuts are baking, you can make your icing by mixing icing sugar with milk and some cinnamon as well, and some vanilla. Don't forget to add vanilla. Then you're going to chop some walnuts or any other toppings of your choice. And then when the donuts are cooked, you leave them out to cool down, and after they have cooled down, you can ice them and then add the chopped walnuts. And this recipe makes really fluffy donuts. If you make them, I hope you like them.
I hope you enjoyed my baking, and that also ticks off another prompt in the Halloweekend prompt list, so I'm pretty pleased about that. Plus they were very delicious. And now let's go to the reading update, because I finished Harrow Lake by Ellis. So let's do like a mini review right now. And I was surprisingly very pleased with this book. It was another one of those that I listened as an audiobook at work, and for most of the time I had no trouble following the story, even when I had to switch off for a little bit. And as the story progressed, I liked it more and more. As I said, I think one of the best parts of this book is the main character, Lola. She is an extremely relatable teenage character, which I find it's not so common, at least in my experience. I find a lot of teenage characters like a little bit too cringy, because obviously their teenager traits are exaggerated in the book, and I think sometimes it's a bit too much. But I really like Lola, even though she is definitely not perfect. I just liked following her character development. Throughout the whole book, the story was very, very creepy. As I said in the previous segment, I think at some points I felt like there were maybe too many elements, because there's like the creepy town and the creepy people in the town, and there's like these creepy little like jitterbug thingies, which I actually had to look up because I had no idea what they were and I was like not understanding the story. There is a creepy puppet, there is a creepy doll, there is a creepy tree. There was like too much going on, but actually I kind of like appreciated, because then it kept the story very entertaining all the way through. And actually in the end, most of the elements come together quite well, and some of them are left like a little bit open-ended, but I think it actually made sense. And actually I thought the ending was very good. It was like impactful, and I think there were enough clues given throughout the story for the reader to go like, oh, this all makes sense now, but without making it too predictable, which is, I think, another risk in YA, because sometimes the author makes things like too obvious. So yeah, I didn't have like really big expectations for this one, so I was very pleasantly surprised.
Let's take a break from reviews so you can come with me to Aberdeen and have a very pleasant stroll through the kirkyard.
And then this week I have watched 3 horror movies, which I have decided that in October I want to spend more time watching horror movies, even if I read a little bit less, because I think October is just like peak time for watching movies, because also now here in Scotland it's like really cold and windy and rainy, so you know, I just kind of like want to cuddle up in the sofa with some tea, maybe some popcorn, and watch movies. Anyway, I'm rambling now. The movies that I watched, well, the first one was my best friend's Exorcism, which I was really looking forward because I loved the book. If you saw my September wrap-up, you will know that by now. And the movie was disappointing. I was very sad. I think for a couple of days after watching it, I was in denial because I kept thinking, nah, it was good, it was entertaining, it was fun. But no, honestly, there's no excuse. They completely missed the point. I think they just made it like a straightforward, a bit of a light-hearted possession story with some comedic elements. And well, that is true also for the book. The point was the friendship between Abby and Gretchen, the strength in the friendship and the love the two girls had for each other, and how this love basically defied the evil within Gretchen, or the evil that took over Gretchen. And the movie just didn't reflect that at all. Plus, there were other little issues. I thought sometimes the acting was very bad, the scenes were very rushed, some of the jokes didn't land. So, yeah, it was bad. And honestly, I don't think I'll ever watch it again, and maybe I'll just pretend it doesn't exist. Moving on, the next movie I watched was Event Horizon, and I had never watched this before, and I think this one was the complete opposite, because while I was watching the movie, I was thinking, oh my god, this is so bad. But now I can't stop thinking about it, and I think it's a case of, well, it was so bad, it's genius. I mean, the story doesn't make sense, but the horror was so well done that it's all I can think of. And I don't care. I don't care that things don't make sense. Also, I love the aesthetic of it. Like, I haven't said what it is about. Basically, it's about a spaceship that was on a mission and then it went missing. So now there's like a rescue team that is going to look for that ship and like on a rescue mission. But when they arrive to the ship, they find no one there, and then we find out that everyone died and they have to investigate why. So it's like arriving to like a ghost spaceship. So back to what I was saying, I loved the visuals of it. I like how the ship was designed full of like these very geometric shapes, which are, I mean, I think they were like there was no purpose for it. They would be completely impractical. And I imagine if you're designing a spaceship, your priority would be to make things as functional as possible. And this was actually the opposite. Many of these design choices seem to be like hindrances to the functioning of the ship. I don't care, they looked beautiful. Also, there were parts of the movie that were like very, very serious, and then other parts of the movie that were very, very comedic. And it was a bit jarring, like the shift in tone, and I want to think it was on purpose, but I'm not sure. Anyways, I had a great time, and I actually think I want to watch this again. Not only because it's fun, but because I think there are so many more details that I can appreciate on a rewatch. And finally, the third movie I have watched so far is The Stylist, which is a movie on Shudder. And this was recommended to me by my new Twitter friend, Finn, because he mentioned that this was first made as a short and that then it got made into a feature-length film. And you can watch the short on YouTube. I will link it below. So go watch that, and if you think you like the vibe, I think the full movie is worth a watch. And in short, it's about this woman who is like a hairdresser, and she is obsessed with other people's lives and she wants to become other people. So basically she kills women and then sculpts them and then wears their hair as a wig to pretend that she is someone else. And this is a pretty straightforward story, but first of all, I really liked the performance of the lead actress. I liked the aesthetic of the movie, like the colors and the way it is shot. It was very pleasing to me. And the story is good. I think it dips a little bit in the middle. It becomes a little bit too slow, but then towards the end, it picks up again. And I really enjoyed the ending. It was a little bit predictable, but it's a good kind of predictable in that you kind of like see where things are going and you know something bad's going to happen, and it's just like watching and waiting for the train wreck to happen and that like feeling of dread. So I enjoyed it. I'm glad I watched it, and I would say to watch the short first, and if you like that, then you can watch the full one on Shudder. Okay, that is it for now. I haven't finished the Midnight Club, so I will try to finish it within the next 2 days, and if I do, I will add that review to the end of this vlog, and if I don't, then I will add it on to the next vlog. But in any case, I will see you on my next video. But until then, goodbye.